Vice Minister, a pleasure to have you join us here on Channel Africa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. And it's an honor for me, of course, to be in your show this afternoon.
Thank you. I think perhaps before we get into the launch of this important project, which we're going to address in a moment, it is so wonderful to note the work of agriculture as a sector and its supporting fraternities in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is noted as very successful when we look at agriculture, second to the United States of America. And, water systems are working very efficiently in the Netherlands. Please talk to us about just how the sector has been run there and the success thereof at this time.
Well, I'll be happy to do so, of course. Indeed, the Netherlands are the second biggest agriculture exporter after the United States, but we are also a very big agricultural importer at the same time. So we are actually both, and therefore not only a producer, but also a processing country and a trading country, and of course the number one destination for South African agricultural produce outside the region. So we're the gateway to Europe and the rest of the world for many South African products as well.
Right. Okay. Please elaborate on the relationship between the Netherlands and South Africa in particular when we look at import and exports.
Well, we have a long and broad cooperation for many years with South Africa. We actually have also a team on the ground in Pretoria and elsewhere in the country to deepen those relationships for many years already. And the focus now, for example, also is on improving the trade in e-certification, ensuring that trade flows smoothly, but also in assisting each other with knowledge exchange and improving through climate smart production methods, for an example, local production. So there are many elements of our cooperation in the past, and I'm sure there will be in the future.
All right. Okay, so we are very excited to talk to you ahead of the launch of the Grootvlei Climate Smart Horticulture Center. And we'd like to understand what the establishment of this particular center is all about. Perhaps if you can just note its importance around themes of climate smart agriculture, just energy transition, as I'd mentioned earlier as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, for us, of course, Grootvlei really brings together several things that really matter in this country, but I think also in a broader sense. South Africa, like many other countries, is in the middle of a just energy transition, moving away from fossil fuels, while at the same time needing to create jobs, of course, skills and new economic opportunities. And agriculture really has a key in making that transition work on the ground for local people. So what attracted us from the Netherlands to this partnership is that the Grootvlei project shows very practically that what a just energy transition can look like beyond the energy sector itself. It links, for an example, the repurposing of energy infrastructure to climate smart food production, to skills development, to new business opportunities. And in that way, it's not only about policy, but about really tangible investments that support communities, local jobs, local economy, and bringing in the experience in climate smart horticulture in particular from the Netherlands, I think really helps to really start not from scratch, but from experience and this innovation we believe is necessary when land, water and energy are under pressure together, which I think is the case in many places, but also here in South Africa in particular. We're doing this together with South African partners, building on local knowledge and local partnership and leadership, of course. And in that we really believe this is a project that really has potential and has future.
All right. If you've just started listening, thank you for staying with us in conversation with Vice Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Nature in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And they are preparing to launch something very exciting here in South Africa, as we have noted. Mr. Roald Lapperre is joining me on the line. So a lot of communities, Mr. Vice Minister, are talking about just trying to understand just transition, and what exactly is that when we look at energy, and how does that affect climate smart agricultural practices and all of that? So what does that actually mean, and how do we translate that in practical terms?
Well, from a distance, you might think energy transition, agriculture, and food security are sort of different issues and different trajectories. But in reality, they're deeply connected, of course. Farmers depend on reliable energy and on water. Communities depend on agriculture for jobs, for their food, of course. And if you approach energy transition in isolation, you risk solving one problem while actually creating another. And the just energy transition, of course, is not only about cleaner energy, but also about restructuring the economy in a way that works for people. And the Grootvlei project really has the potential to show how linking energy, water, and food can create new economic activity, manage also trade-offs, and make better use of existing infrastructure. And this is why public-private partnerships are important and are being worked on very actively, because of course governments like my own and yours can align policies and reduce risk, but businesses and farmers are essential to really make it happen on the ground and turn integrated solutions into really viable, scalable projects that improve livelihoods and create local job opportunities.
Absolutely.
So energy and agriculture are really closely connected also in this Grootvlei project, of course.
Absolutely. I think what you're mentioning, all very important. I think perhaps even just on that note of creating opportunities, skills development and youth participation are very big just across the African continent, not just in South Africa. I'm very interested to find out about Mpumalanga as a choice of province. Perhaps you can elaborate on why you wanted to launch a project or initiative of this nature in the Mpumalanga province in particular.
Well, I think there are several reasons, of course. When you look at such a project, it starts, of course, with local. With the local situation, with local priorities. Is there land available? The proximity to the city, the proximity to the potential market for the products is important, and it's relatively close, of course, to Johannesburg and Pretoria area. There is potential land available, so I think that combination made it very attractive. And of course, as part of the local situation, creating jobs there, creating job opportunity everywhere is important, but in particular, I think in that area, it has extra value. And that is why, several reasons why this area was chosen, I believe, and indeed why creating employment, as you said, strengthening the local economy, also youth employment around that power plant is something that is being focused on in the project. And in the longer term, of course, it means building skills, attracting investment, and developing a more reliable food supply. And we all know that vegetables and locally grown vegetables are also very much part of a healthy diet.
Absolutely. Yes. And then just on the note around, the knowledge exchange and partnership, I think that's a very exciting element in South Africa working together with the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And you and I noted earlier about the innovation and water efficient systems, the high-tech agriculture work that's been done in the Netherlands that could somewhat become a lesson for how things can be approached here in South Africa. So let's look at what perhaps the Netherlands has learned through working with South Africa and partnering with our local communities on this particular project.
Well, I think, first of all, it is indeed very important to note that we need to find ways of agricultural production that use less water, less inputs, and improve production. And that sounds a bit like utopia, but it is actually very much possible. And we've seen that happen in our own country, and we've seen that happen in South Africa as well. So in a greenhouse environment, you can really produce high value produce, high quality produce with less water and less inputs. And that is exactly what is happening there. That needs skills indeed. Said that also needs knowledge exchange, because it is sometimes not something that has been in the DNA of people working in that sector in the past, but it is something you can learn, you can exchange, and that is exactly, I think, what this project is also aiming for, to help people learn the knowledge and ability to produce in greenhouse environments in that area.
Absolutely. If you've just started listening or have caught the conversation in its middle, we are having a conversation about Eskom and the Netherlands launching the Grootvlei Climate Smart Horticulture Centre in Mpumalanga. A pleasure to be in conversation with Mr. Roald in his capacity as the Vice Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Environment and Nature in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, ahead of the launch that's going to be happening in literally the next couple of days. So let's have a...
Tuesday is the day, I think.
Tuesday, absolutely. Almost said Wednesday, actually. It is this coming Tuesday, which is the 27th of January 2026. So let's talk, Mr. Vice Minister, let's talk long-term vision, because as I understand it, the centre is intended to evolve into a future agri-hub, as it were. So at a policy level, let's talk about support and investment for the centre, and the long-term vision, perhaps in the next 10, 20 years, what do you see for communities?
That's a great question, because of course when you to move from a center to a full agri-hub, you need more than just a good idea. You need an enabling environment, you need alignment between policy, infrastructure and investment, of course. And public funding, of course, can help demonstrate feasibility. That's what we're doing right now. Can help also reduce early stage risk, exactly what we're doing now. But long-term success, of course, depends on private partners coming in. And that is what where we see quite some interest already. I'll also be visiting some companies in the area tomorrow and on Tuesday that are really interested in stepping in. But for business to invest, of course, the basics have to be right. Reliable infrastructure, access to water, access to energy, a skilled workforce. And that is why close cooperation between government, local businesses, the private sector, education institutions is extremely important, because we need to bring those pieces together. It is complex, but it is important to make it work, and that is exactly, I think, what needs to be done to make a project like Grootvlei to be scalable and investable over time.
Absolutely. Okay, perhaps if you can elaborate on the role then of the private sector in growing a project of this nature, because the value chain is big enough, and the pie is big enough for public sector and government to be working together to make it a sustainable space.
Well, the private sector, as you, I think, rightly indicated, is essential for scale. So once proof of concept is established, companies can bring in capital, technology, and market access. We can help, of course, to improve that market access by through e-certification and other ways to ensure that the produce can also be brought to other markets. But let's start with the local market, of course, knowing that that big urban areas of Johannesburg and Pretoria are actually around the corner from Grootvlei. So I think that is an obvious start. And of course, the Grootvlei project is also intended to show that climate smart horticulture is not only sustainable but bankable, and that I'm sure will encourage businesses to step in and expand activities across the whole agricultural value chain in the area.
Right. And perhaps on a personal note, Mr. Vice Minister, let's talk about, just the things that give you hope in the work that you're doing, in the office that you're occupying, but also being on the ground. When you look at the future of agriculture and this climate uncertainty that we're seeing in the world, what gives you a glimmer of hope, not just for the continent, but really just for the world and how we operate when it comes to agriculture?
Well, there's more than a glimmer of hope for me. I think it is feasible. And we have every reason to be optimistic. Of course, the reality is climate change is here already. And in this very country, I think right now you've seen flooding in the eastern part of the country over the past weeks, and fires in the western part of South Africa. So everywhere, be it in Southern Africa, be it in Europe, we feel climate change every day. But by adapting our agricultural production methods to climatic change, we can really deal with it, and even, as I said, produce high quality produce in higher numbers with less inputs. And it needs different production methods, it needs knowledge, but it's there, it can be done, and it can be done here in Southern Africa as well. And that is actually why we're working so closely together, because being optimistic is one thing, knowing that it's possible is the second, but also exchanging knowledge, exchanging experience, preventing that people have to reinvent the wheel every time again is something we can do together.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up our conversation, which has been just such an honor and a privilege, perhaps your final message, for the African continent. I think because we've got such a large young population, and it's going to get younger as the years go by, just your message in finality to the young farmer, the innovators, the young agripreneurs and agronomers that are here on the continent. What message would you like to leave with them ahead of the launch?
Well, I think the main message would be that the future of agriculture is full of opportunity. And not only for people that have been in agriculture before or for generations, but also for outsiders, for young people, older people, or middle-aged people like myself. I really think agriculture has opportunities. It's a sector where innovation, science, and entrepreneurship come together. Where can you find that? And where you can work with nature while building something commercially viable. So a climate smart horticulture, which we've been talking about for the past 15 minutes or so, is not only about resilience, it's about competitiveness, it's about innovation, it's about growth. It's actually everything a young, ambitious person would want to be part of.
Absolutely. Vice Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Nature in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Mr. Roald Lapperre. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for the time. All the best for Tuesday. We're definitely going to fill the listener in on the details post the launch, but all the best and many successes for the year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being on your show, and every success.